fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions. Fact, don't ask, grab reactions. Jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused. Call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now. Y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Q's show here, and now, whenever we last left off with this series, we had Deku and Mirko. Now, a little bit of things have been happening with these two. In fact, quite a bit. With Deku, he's met his father, Hisashi Midoriya, and Hisashi, yeah. Thanks to Deku trying to track down some of the women he's been with, he discovered he has a little sister, Kelly Kruger, half Japanese, half German. And it's actually kind of interesting. Deku, he met her for the first time along with Hisashi, as they were all meeting up to have lunch together. Now, well, it was the first time these two have met. It actually was very interesting. These two, they seem to be very somewhat similar. Their jobs. They're both very, hands-on, and they require a lot of focus and imagination. They're both respectively people who work with their hands and have to visualize in their mind before putting it down or making it reality. Kelly is an artist, and Deku, he's an engineer, he's an inventor. It seems sort of strange. The two, they do have somewhat a little bit of things in common with their career paths. So it's just kind of surprising with that. And then you'd also have with Mirko. You do also have the fact that Ryoko, she saw these three having lunch, misreading the situation and going to see her friend. Now, Mirko, yeah, with her, it's kind of a few other things. After trying to give Deku some advice, since he just learned he had a sister, she talked about her own family life. Her parents didn't take her seriously, they didn't really seem to trust her, and they were very strict with her. Along with that, there was her brother, who, he was just about the same. Her parents, they wanted her to be more feminine, less herself. It seems like they wanted her to be more passive, but she didn't really want to be that way. She did contact them recently to talk with them, and yeah. There was even currently now. Whenever Ryoko came to try and see Mirko, she tried talking about how she saw Deku with another woman. And it was very strange. Mirko didn't react because she knew already that that was Deku's sister. Learning that apparently Inko and Mirko were going to go shopping together. And that was surprising to her. Her friend, going shopping, she usually just goes out to some place and buys jeans, buys shirts. But from what she understands, with Inko going, it's got to be a different story. Now, Ryoko, she just felt very left out. She didn't feel like she was a part of her friend's personal life anymore. Her friend is like a little sister to her. And now she's being sort of left out. She feels pretty bad. The two don't talk as often anymore. Now, with that being said, we do actually have Deku, who he did return to Mirko's apartment after his mother and Mirko did leave to go shopping. And yeah, Deku, after returning, he did try to get some things in order in his head. He wants to try and introduce them to Kelly, Masuro, and Mitsuki along with the Bakugo. If he introduces them to her, then it's gotta be okay, right? Yeah, hey guys, this is my sister who I've never met before. You guys are my family, so I want to introduce you guys to my actual sister. It's just sort of strange. He doesn't want them to get the wrong, understanding. but at the same time, he's also somewhat cautious about this. Yeah, will they get the misunderstanding? Will they not? Does he really even need to do that? Sure, they might understand, but he does not 100% sure. It's just, he's got conflicting thoughts on the matter. And that's what really does somewhat frighten Deku. While he was sitting there thinking about that for probably about an hour or two, while he was watching television, his phone did finally ring. As it did so, Mr. Yaruzu was on the other end of the line, and he did inform Deku about what was currently going on. Mr. Yaruzu, let me put it very briefly, on the phone, explaining it to Deku. He explained to Deku that they believe one of his inventions resurfaced. And Deku, he was very surprised to hear that statement, asking Mr. Yaruzu immediately where it is and exactly what happened with it. And Mr. Yaruzu, he did reveal to Deku, it's not exactly his invention. It's a knockoff that just hit the market, and it's a version of his power source. Now, Deku, he was informed by Mr. Yaruzu to head to the lab, and they are going to talk about what will be going on. Now, Deku, he did leave and head to his lab, as he did get pretty frustrated. Now, Deku, he would head over with Mr. Yaruzu and everybody to his lab, as we do actually cut over to Mirko and Ninko. The two, they are out shopping, and Mirko, she feels sort of strange being here. Right now, she's looking at a bunch of clothes, and some of them, they seem to be kind of either plain or just really not her style. Sure, some look kind of interesting, but even then, does she really think she can pull them off? She's kind of conflicted on that. She doesn't know why, but she's just having that thought in her head. Will it look good on her? Will it fit right? Will people stare at her? Will it be because they think she just doesn't look good in it? It's just sort of weird to her. These thoughts, they never really pop up before, but now they have started to. She's felt like her wardrobe's been kind of plain or more or less similar to Deku's. The two, they do have a very similar scheme for outfits. Deku, he has suits, and he even does have dress shirts, along with even pants and regular dress pants. And Mirko, her style is somewhat similar. However, she does at least have a few more t-shirts and jackets. And even then, that's really about it. Sometimes the two, they do get a pair of shirts or possibly even jeans confused, but when they look at the size of them, yeah, you can tell whose is whose. But other than that, really, it's hard. And Mirko, yeah. She does remember wearing that one dress, and seeing Riku's entire wardrobe. It was kind of fancy, and she doesn't know why, but the dress, it was nice. She liked it, and she feels like she wants to wear stuff like that again. As it was actually kind of surprising Mirko bring this up to Inko, since the two, they've been trying to talk and understand each other better. Especially since Inko, she still was sort of weary of Mirko, but she did eventually warm up to her. She's found out and she does trust and believe that Mirko is not after her son's money. Sure, the coincidence is Deku told her he was going to get paid for all that stuff, and the two seemingly got together. But after Deku did explain it better, and even told his mom about how exactly they've been going so far up until then, it was kind of strange to her. The two seem to be, from what she does understand, each other's first relationship. And it was very interesting, especially whenever Mirko tried coming to her for advice. It just felt strange to her. She could be a motherly figure to Mirko? Can't she call her own mother and ask? Or maybe she's just trying to ask her because she's Deku's mother. Could she be trying to be nicer for him or dress nicer for him? It seems kind of weird, but at the same time, she's not going to really question it. She'll help as best she can, but she doesn't really want to step into their business, if that does make sense. Now, the two they are out shopping, and Inko she actually just hold up a nice looking outfit for Mirko, asking if she does think that this one would be good. And Mirko she does just somewhat look at it. It looks kind of interesting to her, but she doesn't really know. It's just strange. Now, Inko she does encourage Mirko to try it on, and that kind of is where things start to spiral. Mirko she does start to see herself as the way her mom wanted to. She looks like a very nicely dressed woman. She's in a pretty outfit. She looks good. It seems weird to her. She doesn't have on these regular things. She never was one for dresses, one for skirts, one for really anything like that. But even then, now it just seems weird. And the two, they actually do enjoy the day together. Now, it was very interesting. And you did even actually have Deku, who, back over in the lab with Mr. Yaoyorozu and many of the people who did work inside of it, he did reveal to them exactly what is currently happening. A small-time tech organization, they seemingly may have copied or been given a knockoff version of Mr. Bakugo's blueprints for his power source, and the machine that does act as the actual source the power source runs inside of. Now, Deku he does step forwards, informing everybody of exactly the knockoff and exactly how much less effective it is. And he does bring it up to many people. Now, many people they do stare at him. His expression is one of anger, one of seriousness, and it does show. He seems to be very fired up at this. And he does seem to be very annoyed. And people they don't really understand why. Until Deku he does bring up some other factors. The people who are allowing this power source onto the market, they are only allowing it on there because it's not as effective as the one he has yet to introduce. They claim that theirs can run for 2 weeks, and they're pricing it at a very high margin, significantly higher than what he prices his own. And there's even the fact that their power sources, they're not only chemically unstable, but they do show signs of possible malfunction. The likelihood of it is significantly above average. And he's telling all of them right now. He's going to be trying to restart this project. He's going to try to get his power source up and funded and show them exactly what they need to know about the original. If they try to come at him with a lawsuit, he can counter it, since it's quite obvious where those designs came from. Sure, there is that one particular law Deku cannot get around. Now, the law that Deku knows will be a problem is one that's been around for quite some time. In fact, it kind of popped up in the early days of Villains. Since the scenario Deku's been put in, it's nearly similar. In fact, it's almost the exact same. The scenario I'm talking about, it's where a villain stole blueprints or technology from one company, and all of a sudden it fell into the hands of another company. That company, they could try to use it and try to show it off as their own. However, if records and documents do show it belonged to somebody else or another company and they were able to throw a lawsuit at that one, if they were able to explain it away with, oh, this villain gave it to them, or one of their associates just so happened to come across it, yeah. That's actually a lawsuit that would either get thrown right out the window or dragged on in court. since there needs to be significant evidence. And really, with what Mr. Yarusu does understand from talking with Deku, the only evidence he really does have is a copy of the blueprints that were made and stolen. And then, really, exactly the paper trail leading back to the place he printed those documents from. That's all he does have. But even then, it won't be enough. The case will get drawn out, and eventually Deku would either run out of money from trying to throw a mountain of lawyers at the problem, or he'll give up. Now, everybody, they are somewhat annoyed. They're being pulled away from their projects, pulled away from the development of the future world. But they can understand it. Some of them, they were there the day the lab was broken into. And Mr. Bakugo, he's a man of commitment. He tried fighting off these people, and he even broke his arm. He was gravely injured trying to protect his own inventions along with their own in the lab. And a pro hero even got knocked unconscious from one of his own that were stolen. So they feel like they need to repay him. Not only is he willing to fight for what he believes in, there's also the fact he funds and pays them quite a bit of money. He treats them all as equals. All of them, they have more money than they do need. If they feel like they're getting paid too little, they talk to him. And Deku, he negotiates and meets them in the middle. And there's even the fact that Deku, he's given them advisement on their own technology. He's saved them months or even years in developing certain things just because of what he's done for them. So they feel like this is their chance to repay him in kind. Now, this is actually where a few hours go by, and the development of this new power source, as Deku does call it, does get underway. And many people, they do actually find out about Deku's pure genius. Whenever he actually does walk over to a holographic table, he does get to throw out his hands, as he does start to at least pull the fake blueprints and start to pull them apart. Him being to edit and alter certain things, and showing them exactly what they need to do. Now, somebody they actually point something out, asking Mr. Bakugo if he can really just not pull up the blueprints for the original invention. Now, Deku, he does just look at this person before informing them that the original copy of the blueprints, technically it does not even really exist, since there's not even really a rough draft. Deku, as he does put in a very simple way, drew up the blueprints and laid them together like that. The way they're put into an online driver file is quite simple. Deku sketches the blueprints by hands and takes a picture of them that way. Now, people do find it to be quite interesting. As Deku, he does continue. If he does edit anything else in that direction, he does usually use the hollow table. And he does make 3D models and everything that way. Now, Deku, he does actually go to grab something, as he does hold up the holographic thing in his hand, talking about how this is a piece of the cooling vent. Because the fact is that this piece here is at least 3 times too small, it will not be as effective. It'll cool things down by at least 35 degrees less than the invention really should be capable of. This thing will have problems overheating, and really, overall, this thing wouldn't even be worth the money spent on it. Sure, it will save power and time. However, that's just the problem. What they're looking at here is a mini fusion reactor. And the problems with these things are quite simple. Well, the design of it is actually a little bit safer. The explosive risk is higher. So what they're doing is really just trying to make money and then just throw themselves off of the market. That's what they're doing. That's what he does see here. And he does actually inform Mr. Yaruzu that they do need to find the parent company to this small company. Now, Mr. Yaruzu is already well aware, and he is going to be getting some people on the case for that. As, after a few hours, Deku, he does head home. Now, Deku, he does walk into the apartment after unlocking the door. As whenever he does walk in, he does close the door, lock it behind him, and go to continue. Deku walking into the kitchen and going to sit down, as he does at least have a protein shake in his hand. Deku going to drink it as he does just go to think. With everything going on, today's been just very long. Christ. A knockoff? Really? You couldn't even use my actual invention against me? Man. These people, they have no idea what they're dealing with. The simple alterations, the design flaws. It's obvious as to why I didn't use those things. They're more dangerous, they're more stupid, they're more at risk for... Why are people this stupid with my technology? Now, that's what's running through Deku's head. People, they either try to copy or make money off of his inventions. And from what you can tell here, they're trying to hurt people. The short-term effects will just be damage to your bank account. However, the long-term effects, physically, could be exposure to radiation and cancerous chemicals. So, the fact is, a lot of people could get hurt from this stuff in the future. The things Deku did for his invention, it did lessen the risk to nearly zero. But the risk for these other ones are at least 20 to 50 times higher. So they're intentionally made to be bad. If they're doing that with these ones, then it's obvious what they're going to do. They'll create those ones first, then try to at least go towards the better looking ones. Then even other ones that may actually be properly functional. However, that's just the problem. One day they might release his actual invention. Then, yeah, that one will be around. However, there is the problem with that. The stabilized matter that is used to power that thing, it isn't written down. Meaning they have not cracked exactly how it does work yet. So, he at least does have that. That's the only piece of information about that invention he never really put down. Most of his blueprints are left inside of his head, meaning that he does have the advantage in knowledge there. But now that he has the funding, he can do a lot better. Some of that stuff he made from garbage scraps, and others he made with actual investment money from college. But even now, making this project with millions of dollars at his disposal, he's going to show them why they should not try to mess with these Zuko Bakugo. Now, as Deku is sitting down, you do actually have Mirko, who is nervous in the next room, as she is going to take a deep breath and go to stand up. As she does walk out into the living room, where Deku, he can actually hear the door open. Deku actually going to set down the protein shake as he is going to turn his head, as he does at least have somewhat of an annoyed and pissed off looking expression on his face. However, the moment he does actually see Mirko, his expression does soften, and it's actually taken over by surprise. Now, Deku, he does actually see Mirko, as it's strange. Looking at her, she's wearing an actual outfit. It's so weird. Now, Deku, he's staring at Mirko, and she does just stand there so embarrassed and trying to think, asking him exactly what he thinks about it. Uh, I don't really. It's it looks bad, doesn't it? No, it's I mean, I just you is that new? Yes, it is. Well, it looks good. Does it? Yeah, I'm just wow. Now, Mirko, she does actually feel a lot better. She just left him speechless, clearly. And that's not something that is pretty easy to do. She's tried many times. She's gotten it once, but now she's gotten it twice. And there actually is one where she does walk over to Deku. And she does go to sit down on his lap, ask him exactly why he was out so late. Oh, yeah, a lot's been going on. It's, about my invention. You know when my lab was broken into? Yeah, what about it? Someone's selling a knockoff of my power generator. Are you serious? Yeah. Not just that, but the way they've made it, it's more dangerous. I think they're trying to send a message to me. And even then, I'm not just gonna allow them to do that. I'm gonna show them exactly what a real power generator can do. And if they do want to try and play my games with my invention, I will play it with them. Show them exactly why not to mess with me. You know, this sounds awfully familiar. You're in a competition with people who stole your blueprints. Yeah, apparently so. And apparently it's going to be turned into a dick measuring contest. Well, clearly. However, I think they might lose. You think so? Oh, yeah. As long as I've known you, you're pretty smart. Hell, look what you did to the coffee maker. Touche, yeah. But even then, you have to admit that's some pretty good coffee. I don't know exactly about that. But it does look a lot more futuristic. But even then, you can't let them get to you, okay? I know. But it's just my inventions. I know. Listen, hey, I get that those guys are bugging you. But you should probably be a little bit more careful, okay? If you stress out too much about it, you might cause an accident. You might mess up, okay? I know. I just. Logic and reason haven't been my best of friends lately, okay? I know. I've just been. You know. I know. It's just weird to me, okay? They just. Knowing everything going on. I know. Yeah, sorry. But anyways, back to you in that dress. So, what do you think? Now, Deku, he does bring his hand up, as he does actually wrap it around Mirko. And he does actually then go to bring his right hand up, grabbing Mirko by her legs, as he does go to pick her up after standing up. Now, Mirko, she does just stay there frozen for a second, as Deku, he does stand there, and she does look right at him. As Deku, he does actually have a smirk on his face, and Mirko, yeah. She immediately just has her eyes widen. And yeah, that was not what she expected. Now, with that being said, Deku, he does inform her that it's a pretty good looking dress. However, she does need to be aware. He does feel like white is more her color. Now, it's kind of funny to Mirko. Trying to imagine this a year ago, maybe even further. Right now, she's being carried like a princess in a story. And it's, well, not something that's ever happened to her. Now, Deku, yeah. He does have to deal with Mirko real quick. As we actually do cut over with Kelly Kruger, Deku's half-sister. She's currently still trying to understand all this information that's going on. Deku, he's her older brother. And even then, Hasashi Midoriya, their father? It's hard for them to understand, really. They're not too sure what to really say or do. And they do just wonder if it's really a good idea to even really talk to the man, meet the man, speak to the man. It's just all clumbled together in their head. And we do actually cut over to somebody else, who they are just lying up awake at night, and they do wonder about everything. They were told at a young age that their supposed dad wasn't actually their biological father, and they've been wondering where their dad's been their whole life. So they just do have that one question. Exactly who is their father? Will they ever meet him? Is he even still alive? Is he still around? Now, the person they do just think that, as they do just go to bed. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.